I would like to introduce our next fireside chat. This is a really nice format. This is more of a back and forth discussion rather than a moderation panel type thing. So there's a lot of it. We've been getting a lot of good engagement from the audience. So as people have questions, please feel free to post them either to the Zoom chat function, Q&A, or to all of our Facebook Live viewers. Include your questions there and we'll address them at the very end. Of course, if there's something that comes up that's pertinent to what our participants are talking about, I'll do my best to interject. Anyway, I would love to introduce Albania, Rosario, fashion designers of Latin America, founder and CEO, and then of course Rene Ruiz, Miami-based fashion designer who has been with us in Miami at the Miami ATS show before. Welcome back, Rene. So they will be speaking about what will the focus of fashion be moving forward post-pandemic designer wear from glam to essentials. So both of you are ready to go. Albania, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much, Jason. Good morning, everyone. And thank you all for joining us today in this section. I have the pleasure to have a special guest with me today that we're going to discuss the topic about what will the focus of fashion be moving forward. But before I do that, I want to formally introduce myself and tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do at FDLA. Albania Rosario, founder and CEO of Fashion Designers of Latin America. In Spanish, Federación de Diseñadores de Latinoamérica, for those of you who speak Spanish. And that's what FDLA stands for. FDLA is not only a fashion platform that does fashion events. We actually are a life-changing platform for fashion designers, aspiring and up-and-coming emerging talent who are looking for opportunities to be able to be part of the fashion scene, not only here in New York City, but also around the world in the fashion industry. We help designers develop their brands. We help them grow into the industry and make their dreams come true when it comes to showing their work to the world. So that's who we are. We connect them with buyers. We connect them with other international important platforms so that their work can be seen worldwide. So that's who we are at Fashion Designers of Latin America. But today we're not here to talk about FDLA. Like I mentioned before, we have a very important topic, and with all closing stores shut down. Sometimes I run out of English, but that's okay because I'm Latina. We have a topic. Yes, yeah. Sometimes I run out of English. I don't know if that happens to you, Rene, but that happens to me sometimes. And then
it happens to me all the time.
The Spanglish kicks in. So I wanted to introduce our guest speaker, Rene Ruiz, who is Cuban, originally from Cuban, based in Miami. Rene, welcome to our section today. And please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and how you become about being this prominent fashion designer in Miami and all the United States.
Well, thank you for having me. This is really a pleasure, and I'm very excited to be part of this whole summit. This whole trade show, since I've been involved with it since the beginning, like 3 years when they first came to Miami. I came to Miami when I was a teenager, and I thought that I was going to be an architect, but I was always drawn to fashion and to just the way that things were made. I went to school here to the college in Miami for fashion. One of the best educations I ever had was my teacher, Charlene Parsons, for the Art Institute. Today, she still teaches today, even though she's been doing it for a long time. She's been a great inspiration for all of us designers in South Florida, especially. After I finished college, I went and I trained in Europe. I did some internships and some apprenticeships in Europe and Italy and Paris. And in the early 90s, mid 90s, I came back to Miami. And in those days, we still had a lot of factory work, and we still had a lot of manufacturing here in the fashion industry, and gave me a chance to worked for a company for a couple of years. And after that, I was just ready to start my business. So I've been in business for literally 25 years. I started in Coral Gables, and I was dressing basically the socialites from all the way from Palm Beach all the way down to Miami, Coral Gables, and Boca. And by dressing these people, the social circle in Miami, these were people that had second homes in the city and South Florida. And organically, my name grew beyond Florida. And I started selling to specialty stores in New York, New Jersey, all the, the Eastern Seaboard, the Northeast. And with that, the name was getting and the recognition. I got called from Saks and Neiman's, and then we had a good partnership with Saks and Neiman's, and creating dresses for special occasions. But I also have my new line now that is it's called Rene by RR, and it's more ready to wear. I have always produced everything in Miami. I'm very proud of being part of Miami and what makes Miami, what makes Miami exciting. And I definitely identify with the city very much, and I love it. It's been great to me and very generous, and only in America, I think someone like me can get here with just not even a couple of dollars in my pocket, and build the dream and get to have the opportunities of all the things that I have been able to do in my life.
Excellent. Very, very interesting story. And I think people could actually relate, to your story. A lot of designers that are out there have also similar stories like yours, that they come here, and they are wanted to be this big name, and they have to go through all this to make it happen. So with that being said, is there anything else that you want to share about your background before we move into our questions of our topic?
About my background, I basically, I'm a product of Miami. I mean, I was born in Cuba, but I became a man and a professional in this city. So I think I'm part of all that mix, and all the is a melting pot in what Miami has become and how Miami has grown. And I think it reflects in a lot of the people like me. And I feel that I am a product of what the phenomenon that has happened here in Miami.
Excellent, excellent. Well, with that being said, I think we should move with our topic, because I think a lot of people is wondering, especially nowadays after this COVID-19 pandemic around the world. I get a lot of questions, and one of them is usually, what is next in fashion? Like, what is next? What are designers doing? What's the next move in fashion? So we really go from what used to be haute couture, glam, and high-end to sweatpants and essential things. And I think this is something where a lot of people have basically been wondering. And I remember earlier today, this morning, I was talking to one of our colleagues at ATS about a very interesting topic that I plan on doing on Instagram Live coming up the next couple of days. And it was like, what to wear to my office, what to wear to work if my office is my couch, because that's what's happening to like a lot of people these days. So with that in mind, what do you think, Rene? Did we really go from glam to essential? What is your thought on that?
Well, no one can predict the future of fashion, or how fashion is going to be. It's going to be in the near future, even less what's going to happen a year or 2 years from now. I think, even though we are homes and we're working out of our offices, out of apartments and things like that, we still have to, we still like to portray an image. And, even though we're comfortable, we want to be comfortable. I still people will find a way to express themselves. You know, it's either you can have a nice if you are like, you know, if you can afford it and you like, you know, you can be home and just relaxing on a nice cashmere sweater or cashmere sweats and things like that. And then you can have them in cotton and people can have it in different. It's always going to have that different choice. You know, fashion is part of how we, you know, project ourselves. Just like, and, you know, I'm here at my house and my apartment in Miami, and I asked you before, you know, should I wear a jacket? And you said, yes, of course, you know. So it's, even though we're still here, you know, we just want to, you know, we have an image to project out there. And, you know, remember, you know, fashion is our first language. People can, not judge us, but people can establish an idea of a perception of ourselves even before we speak, just by the way we present ourselves.
Correct. Yes, and I think timelessness is also important. It's an important concept to play these days. And when people are wearing something that's perfect for in or out, I think that's mostly where most of the focus is going these days. So let me go over our first question of today. That question came from me, by the way, the first one. So Rene, tell us, how is fashion moving forward?
How fashion is moving forward?
From your perspective.
Well, from my perspective, you know, although I sell all over the country, I have clients all over the country, I'm a reflection of Miami. Miami is glamorous, but it's also relaxed at the same time. It's a place where you see all kinds of people meeting and you know, all kinds of different people getting together and at any moment, even through the pandemic. I mean, we've been lucky enough that there hasn't been such a strict lockdown. So people are having, you know, people are meeting in restaurants, and people have been, you know, even doing Zoom events, you know. And I think a fashion is going to be a whole different animal from now on. We don't know what's going to be the direction, but I definitely know that people, when this is all over, people are going to have a desire for dress up and for just express themselves. So I definitely think fashion is going to move in a direction that is going to accommodate a lot more. It's going to be much more inclusive.
Okay, and also a human part, right? There's a human, I think, is playing a relevant role these days with the economic situation and awareness of the economic situation, but also people are trying to be more understanding of the workers and how the clothes are made and how the workers are treated when they're making these garments. So I think also the human part aspect of it, it's definitely a way of the way fashion is moving forward, when people are taking that into consideration before anything. I think that's really important.
I think the video is not on. I don't know. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. I can see you in both windows. I can see you on my other screen, and I can see you here. Yeah.
Oh, because I only can see the Rene.
I can take that out if you need. Yeah, because we're already finished with that. So there you go. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. So I can.
Okay, very good. So yeah, how are designers manifesting their creativity with, you know, with all that's happening around the world with this pandemic of COVID-19? How are you guys manifesting your creativity when it comes to your collections? Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the collections, you know, it all depends on your market, and it all depends on your client, and also it all depends on your own sense of responsibility. You know, for me, it's very, you know, it's very interesting because I still have some of the clients that in my couture side of my business that they still, even though there's some limitations in what they can do, they still are doing events, believe it or not. There's some clients of mine that they had very big weddings or events planned for the family here in Vizcaya and different places. And then they have to limit the number of people. And they even went to places like San Agustin and places like that. And then instead of having 150, 250, they ended up having like 50, 75 people in their events, you know. So I'm still getting that customer that wants that special, you know, memory, and they want to feel special, even though it's not as big as of an event as it was going to be pre-pandemic, you know, or it's going to be after pandemic. But even today, I have appointments with brides that want, you know, because they still want to have pictures, they still want to have memories that are going to last a lifetime, you know. And on the other hand, in my ready-to-wear line, I'm making much more much more conscious, although glamorous and fun, because we always want to make something that is special and the customer identifies with. You know, I'm making things that are like 100% silk, 100% linen, you know, cottons, you know, a lot of natural fibers, and even I'm doing very lightweight cashmere, just to, you know, if you're hosting people, even if you just, you know, even for a very light, mild winter here, you know, just walking around in a nice cashmere blend sweater or you know, sweater set and things like that. Those are things that people are still always gonna want.
Awesome, awesome. So let's speak a little bit about technology and how it's been, you know, helping all of us move forward in the industry. And how are you using technology to help, you know, your brand continue to build? So, in other words, do you think technology is the answer right now for fashion designers? And how are you using it towards your benefit?
Well, technology, you know, more and more purchases have been done online, you know, for a long time now, and now with this pandemic, it's happening even more and more. As we speak, I'm setting up a new online store that I'm going to be able to offer a lot of my designs online as well. I definitely think that is one of the points that technology, you know, that we can use technology for an advantage as a designer, and that also having Zoom fashion presentations with select clients and buyers, and they can see, you know, how the clothes move. You know, they cannot feel it. Unfortunately, they cannot, you know, have that whole, you know, you know, feeling the fabric, seeing the construction. But it's challenging. But it's something that we all going to have to, you know, adapt to, and it's going to be just another way of selling and a tool when things get back to normal. I think technology is very important, and not only in the marketing part of this, like, which is you know, all these social media outlets that we have now, but I think even the way that we are manufacturing the designs today. Technology is a very, very important thing, and it's you know, it's always represented, even though people will always want to have that hand, you know, finished touch and those couture details. That is what what makes a brand special.
Correct. Yes, and to top it off about what you mentioned before, I think the humanity, you know, we're used to physical touching, the feeling, and the being there, the being present, especially on a fashion runway, fashion event. You can't compare the seeing the fabrics move and the texture that you can, the feeling that we feel when we're there live. There's no way we can transition that, you know, online virtually, but we can get as close as possible. So speaking about virtually and all that, I got this question the other day when I posted our event on social media. Someone wanted me to ask you, so some brands are having issues with warehouses and producing new clothes. So do you think making virtual clothing is the fastest way to create a collection and present it?
Well, it's what we have to do today. I think it's definitely faster because it's faster because you can get it out there to the consumer and to the, you know, to the buyers faster than producing a real full-blown fashion show. And you know, this has been around for a while now. We've been doing lookbooks online. We send the looks to different stores around the country, different buyers. It's just that now it's being multiplied by this unfortunate pandemic. But I believe that after the pandemic, even however we rethink this fashion business and how we all get to survive, I definitely think that, you know, even after the 1918 pandemic, you know, we had the Roaring 20s and it was amazing, and all the fashion and all the consumerism, and people wanted to, you know, to enjoy life. And even after World War II and all of those, you know, all of those times, it's always a comeback because, you know, we have pack animals. We want to run in group. We need the social. We need to, you know, we need to be social. This is how we are. This is what we are all about. So
I completely agree with you. I think it's definitely important, the physical, all of that. I mean, and I know we are, the whole industry, as the whole world, we're in pause right now. I definitely know that fashion is gonna definitely come back. And when we do return, it's gonna be a major, like you said at the beginning, it's gonna be a huge event. It's gonna be a huge change, but definitely improving and innovating. So I think adding all these aspects together is just only mean that we're becoming bigger and better with all the innovations and everything that we're adding to, you know, towards the industry. Considering the economic situation right now, what do you think consumers will be spending their money on? Like, what do you think they're most likely to buy when it comes to clothing?
Well, that's a good question. You know, that is a good question. We're seeing,
you know, and considering, you know, the human aspects and the sustainability, like where will people invest or spend their money in, you know, when it comes to the fashion industry and what they wear? What do you think?
well, it's, you know, that is a very tricky question because, you know, there's those global brands that are like very well known, and they seem to be able to like capture the majority of the market. You know, there's those people that want to identify with, you know, certain brands and certain, you know, a status quote, as you know, as we all know in the industry. And you know, this is kind of like it's difficult for smaller companies to survive in an environment like we have now.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It's difficult because we are, you know, for the last 20 years or so, we have been trained to you know, to be more global. And like these companies, of course, they, you know, they control, you know, the majority of the marketing. They have the dollars, they have the you know, the staying power to you know, to navigate through these times that we're going through. I definitely think the we, you know, smaller companies and designers like me and smaller manufacturers have a big challenge in that is facing us, because we need to, you know, put a message out there and, you know, put a name out there and try to survive through these difficult times, because people are spending money. They are spending money on a bag still, on a pair of shoes that has a big name attached to it and things like that. And then this, you know, there's a big balance that we need to figure out, because a lot of the smaller, you know, mom and pop stores that we used to have, they used to be almost like a, you know, like a trampoline for a lot of designers, especially designers from my time, to the big department stores and now to stores online. They're not there anymore, you know, they're not there anymore. And it's difficult for them to survive during these times. People are not going to the store. They're trying to make sales. I mean, I have friends that have been in the retail business in New York City for a long time, and they're friends and clients of mine. And you know, they're doing like maybe 50% of the business. So,
Right.
so that is.
So basically, we can say that, you know, for some people who, you know, luckily their financial situation hasn't been affected by the pandemic, they're still shopping, they're still buying, you know, their big brands and their expensive garments, regardless whether they are stuck at home or not going anywhere. You feel like they're still being loyal to the brands that they love, pretty much, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I think definitely, because even if they're not buying gowns to go to galas or things like that, they're still buying. They still have the money, and they want to, you know, buy that bag or that pair of shoes, like I told you, or maybe a piece of jewelry, or they invest in different things. You know, it's more of the middle class that is really, you know, hurting at this moment, you know.
Correct. And I think, in my personal opinion, I think, you know, these are the people, the true consumers, the ones who buy the outfits, the ones who buy the garments, that are focusing a little bit more in the essential and what's important in life. I think people are more worried about being alive and being healthy than spending in the next big trend that's going to come out in the next season. I think those are the consumers that are using, you know, they're being more thoughtful about the human aspect to this whole industry, and thinking about more on the essential. What's the essential? What's more important today? So with that being said, I want to give a little twist to this conversation. I have this important thing that I want to ask you. Pretty much is, what is your thought about comfort and structure never goes out of style? And if you want to, what structure means for the people who don't know, like the shoulders and all that, that will be also important.
Well, you know, comfort is very important, you know, because even in my evening gowns and the dresses that I make, you know, I always, you know, build it in a way that they are sexy, they fit the body. But one of the things that my customers always enjoy was that they were comfortable. Construction and structure, you know, that's something that is just very, it depends on the designer and the way and what the designer wants to approach, you know, his fashion philosophy. For me, I mean, I like clothes to be tailored, sometimes fitted. I like a good fit in my clothes, and I think my client identifies with that. It's always, you know, it's always a very thin line between comfort and structure, like you said, or construction. You know, we want to be, you know, and it's all, you know, it is all different things for different places, you know, like you can be, you know, I'm doing a lot of resort now because of Miami Fashion Week, and they specialize in resort wear. So a lot of the clothes that I'm designing for is very ready to wear, much more comfortable, but I'm still glamorous. Like I'm doing lame tank tops with bias trimmings and things like that, that, you know, that's gonna make it a little bit glamorous, but, you know, things that you can wear just probably around the pool, or if you're just home entertaining, you know, not everything has to be so well, you know. But then, you know, there's platforms like yours, you know, the FDL, you know, platforms like you, they help designers like me and all the designers that want to get an entry on the American market, whether it's now through, you know, social media, that you're doing a great job, by the way, and putting all these designers out there, and, you know, getting them a door open into this big market that we all want to be part of it, which is the United States of
Correct,
America.
yes, and as we know, it's a very, very competitive industry, especially here in the United States. I mean, so definitely, like you said before, companies like my company, FDLA, which is a platform that helps, you know, the up and coming, but also established designers like yourself to, you know, to be able to get their foot in, which is, you know, in this very competitive place. If you don't have the resources or the connection to make it into this industry, especially in this market, how will people ever find out about your work and your amazing talent? And this is what I love the most about my platform, is that we gather designers from, you know, our countries in Latin America, Bolivia, Peru, Guatemala, Honduras, and we have this amazing talent, and they're stuck in their countries, not having, you know, the resources to be able to have a presence here, not only here in the United States, but also in everywhere in the world in the fashion industry. So that's what we're here for. We're here to make sure that they are found, that they are discovered, and that a whole window of opportunities opens up for them to get the work, you know, the worldwide.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty important, but I don't want to get off topic here. I mean, I can never talk about FDLA. I think you know that by now. So every time I forget, I say something about FDLA. But going back to our topic, do you think women are falling back into wearing their house dress?
No, I hope not.
Great answer. Very great answer. Yeah, that was a question we got on Instagram. And another question that I got as well is, are pieces that inspire joy necessary right now?
I'm sorry.
Are pieces that inspire joy necessary right now? I think we always, yeah.
Of course, absolutely. There's always, you know, especially through these, you know, these times that we're living. I mean, you know, I go out to the market or something like that, and sometimes it's just daunting to me. I go to a restaurant and everybody's wearing a mask, and I feel like I'm living in a science fiction movie. But definitely, you know, the happy, even through a color. Even through color, you can, you know, things can make, I mean, your clothes can make you happy. You know, it's just a reflection of what we do, you know. And I myself, I've been, you know, trying to put in my collection more color. And I want to do, for my next collection, which I'm working on now, is believe it or not, it's very retro, but with a very modern twist. Because I'm still very much inspired by old Hollywood movies, by a different time, and I think all of that is even influencing me even more in my new designs. I have time to be here in my apartment, and I've been watching a lot of old movies, and I see how the work and the construction and all of that was done. And I think that is one of the things that inspired me even more so today.
Great. Yeah. I think on that topic, that, you know, question is that I know the whole industry is feeling very strong emotions, you know, for the past several months. And maybe some designers are not ready to create things yet, but I know they will be, and I know they will be pretty soon. And it is always very, very important to give people something to dream about, give people joy. And if that comes, you know, in the garments that they create, so that's I think that's something that needs to happen for sure. So I agree with you that, you know, keeping that alive is necessary and is also very, very important. So what changed for you personally when it comes to designing your garments?
What changed for me
Personally, yes.
personally when I designed the collection?
Yes, like you have another emotion, like you have, are you feeling any different, you know, with all this going on, you know, with how the pandemic, you know, and the whole industry has been affected? Do you have any emotions, or did anything change with you personally?
Of
When it
course,
comes
this pandemic has changed all of us in ways that we don't even know yet. I think we're going to be feeling the effects of this pandemic. I mean, this is something that we as a nation and the world, the whole world, the civilization, we haven't gone through in 100 years, literally. And for it has definitely changed us. So I think it has made me personally much more sensitive and much more compassionate for, you know, all of those around me. Like, you know, like it's just the little things in life that makes they have made such a difference. Just like uh, you know, talking to people that work with me and making sure that whenever I talk to them, the first thing I ask them how they're doing, and you know, and how is if I speak to these people at the end of the day, how was their day, and I think it's very important. It has made us, I think, closer and much more human. And I think that would translate into my design. It has translated. I mean, I want them to be happy. I want to design sexy clothes. I'm in Miami. I mean, I'm still young. I love everything that is around me. I think this is an amazing city. And we have a beautiful world. This is not Miami. We have a beautiful planet. So
absolutely.
I definitely think that even though this has completely and fundamentally changes all as the human race, me as a designer, absolutely, this is going to be. I'm designing right now, and I'm working on my new workroom, and which is going to be in North Miami, which is a departure for me. I don't know if you people that know Miami. I've been I was in Coral Gables for 25 years, and now I'm having a whole new rebirth with a reset, like people are saying, with this whole pandemic. And I have a place in a small workroom, very private, in North Miami, and I'm excited. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I mean, I go there every day, and, cutting tables, sewing machines, meeting with I'm getting samples of fabrics from companies that I source from in Paris and Italy and Barcelona. It has, it's a whole different universe now. And I think we have all, we've all evolved, and I'm excited about the future.
I agree with you 100%. I think we all, it doesn't matter what the industry is that we are in, we all have emotions. And I think the emotions is actually what gets you going. And if you have a lot of passion for what you're doing, I think that's definitely what moves you more. So with that being said, we have two generic questions here that I want to ask you before we jump into our Q&A. These questions, by the way, I gathered them before as we posted the event, the seminar with you today. So these are people that would ask of me to ask you these questions during the section today, but these questions came from Instagram before. So these are two generic questions. Number one is, Consumers today are looking for ways to safeguard their health and that of those around them. Is health first the future of fashion? Health first.
Well, that is something that is going to be it's going to be in all our minds, because even a lot of designers are designing, masks, as you can see, gloves, and everything it's going to have a purpose. Just much more. It's going to be much more utilitarian. I gather. I mean, I've been myself researching antibacterial fabrics, and fabrics that are like recycle or repurpose and all of that. But at the end of the day, it's all going to be a personal choice. We all know that we are in America. This is, the greatest country on earth, and we all gonna have to make choices. We know that we have to wash our hands constantly. We know that we have to wear masks, and those are things that are gonna have to be, determined by your own, sense of responsibility. I can design gowns or suits or skirts or tops. They have masks on them, but it's entirely up to you to wear them, and your own responsibility for yourself and for others, how you conduct yourself in the world.
Correct. Yeah. So the answer basically is yes, health first is definitely one of the most important things, but it's a personal choice also, like you said, and it's about being responsible.
Being responsible.
Exactly, being responsible. All right, then. So our next generic question, it's when it comes to fashion marketing and leveraging creative ads, what are brands doing, or you personally, to promote global health? I think you just said it basically in the previous question.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Responsibility.
Responsibility, and just and it's just depending of what kind of market you are. If you're in the hospital gown business, or if you are and when I mean gowns, it's gowns for the patients, or you're working with the uniforms for nurses and people that work in the medical industry, then you have to have a much more sense of what the safety parameters are. But if you're doing clothes like me, that I'm designing just beautiful dresses that you can wear on the pool, or you can just wear if you're entertaining a few couples in your home, that is a whole different perception. People have to do whatever they feel comfortable with, and they have to personally be responsible. Wash your hands, make sure that you have everything sanitized, and just move on.
Absolutely. So health and well-being alongside with a sense of community and human connection, I will say that's a straightforward answer.
Yes.
With that being said, well, thank you so much, Renee. I want to pass it on to Jason to see if we have any questions on the chat. I think most of the questions were asked previously during my post in social media. But Jason, the floor, you can take over now. Let us know if there's any questions or comments.
You mean it's over already? Between you and me, it's over?
Between you and I, well, unless you want to continue to talk, I have no problem. Our next
It's been great. Thank you for having me, seriously. It's been great.
Don't go anywhere. Let's hear from Jason. Maybe he has some questions for you. Okay, hold on one second.
Let me check our chat box. No questions in the chat. I'm trying to check our Facebook. I do have a question. I was really intrigued by what you guys began talking about how the COVID pandemic has affected the buying, as far as the general consumer goes, their buying patterns, and what you see, like Renee, I think you had mentioned that it's much more kind of essentials wear that people are wearing right now. And I'm just curious about what the two of you think about what's going to happen when things inevitably open back up, as close to normal as we can expect in the next year or so. If there's going to be a surge in people buying essentially evening wear, glam wear, that kind of stuff versus the essentials, because I'm already seeing it here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We're one of the least closed states probably, but there are a couple that are a little more open. But what you're seeing is a lot of people, and obviously events are still restricted, but restaurants that have bars at night are extremely packed. Like in no time have I ever seen the weekend scene so busy for the restaurants here in Scottsdale and in general Phoenix area, and people are looking fantastic. And I think what's happening here is that people have been cooped up for so long. They have all of this stuff that they used to wear and they want to look good. They want to be engaging. And, so I'm curious. And the nice thing about fashion is that it's so seasonal, so when new things are coming out, even if you have something that you've worn multiple times, you're always looking for that new thing. So I'm wondering what you think is going to happen as far as consumer buying patterns goes in the next year or so when things slowly begin to open back up. Do you think there's going to be a surge of purchases in that area?
I definitely think so. It's just I'm experiencing the same thing that you're saying. I mean, like I see the restaurants. I live in downtown Miami, and there's a few restaurants that are like places like Novikov or Suma, places like that, and it is incredible to see how packed they are and how glamorous these girls and even guys are coming out. And it's maybe because we live in cities like that, but I definitely think people are still buying, and people would just buy even more when all this is over. But now they're very exciting news. They have 3 new vaccines, and they said the Pfizer is 95% safe. So I think that things are looking good in the future. We're going to have vaccines soon, and we are going to be able to return to a normal life. And I want to be ready myself to be able to dress everyone.
Yes.
And as I'm sure, I definitely see you having a lot of business here in the near future, Rene.
Yeah, and you know what? I think people to answer your question, Jason, is like people, when this is all over, hopefully sooner than later, people are going to look for any excuse to dress up. People are going to look for any event to dress up, to wear a nice luxury, garment. So, but one thing that I know for sure is that it's always going to be more quality and timeless, but keeping in mind sustainability and the human aspect. And I think as a result of this pandemic, this is what we're going to keep with us. This is the lesson to be learned, to be more cautious about what we buy and to be more cautious about the human aspect of it,
Absolutely.
how the are treated, and the sustainability. So I think definitely more quality. Definitely people are going to want to go anything you invite them to, because people are being stuck for several months. So they're going to find any excuse to dress up. So yeah, so basically to answer your question, more quality, timeless, human aspect, sustainability. That's
that is definitely something that I was listening. I was watching Jason Prescott and Eddie, from Sourcing Journal, and I was listening to them, and the whole thing about knowing where the clothes is being manufactured, if it's a clean industry, if they're treating the employees right, because sustainability has been trending for some time in fashion, and it's something that hopefully is like what he said, something that has stayed in my head was like, it's like a ladder. So, little by little, we're getting there. Little by little, we're being more conscious of sustainability, but also it's important what he said to me also about the human factor, the employees that have been treated right, that are like making enough money in this industry, which hasn't seen any salaries increase in a long time. you know, so I think that is something that is going to be fundamental for the future of the industry in the United States, I hope.
Perfect.
Agreed. Very interesting to
So,
see what will happen here. So,
yeah.
okay. Well, that's all the time we have. I would like to remind everybody, as always, that to visit the virtual show dashboard is a great place for, first of all, make sure to check out our pavilions and our exhibitors. And then we have our matchmaking function, just posting the link here to the dashboard. That's taking place at the show floor. It has our partners, our speakers will be in and out of there as well. And the ATS show staff to answer any questions about the show or to any sourcing needs you might have. So definitely go check that out. We'll be starting our next seminar here in about 40 minutes. So I'd like to thank both of you again. It's always good to see you. Albania for the first time in person, and Rene, hopefully I get to see you in person in next year.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Renee, for joining us. Let's go to the matchmaking because I know they are waiting for us over there. So in case somebody else has a question, couldn't do it here, definitely join us at the matchmaking room and we'll be there for a couple of more minutes. All right. Thank you, Jason.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you,
Jason.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See ya.